Hi, my name is Jack Rohde. I'm the elected district attorney for Galveston County. And I wanted to just take a minute and express my support for Gulf Coast Outreach Services and the work that they're doing here in Galveston County. I'm familiar with its founder. I'm familiar with the work that they've done over the last more than a year. The reason I'm familiar is because of my job. As district attorney, we deal with all of the crimes that come from fentanyl and the associated drugs. I have a lot of great things to say about our legislature. They've done a great job of enhancing our statutes that give us as prosecutors really valuable tools to go after fentanyl dealers and other opioid dealers that have caused a lot of devastation, not just in our community, but all across the state. We've got enhanced penalties that we can pursue even when somebody dies as a result of an overdose. But the problem with those tools is we're only able to use those after the fact. Those tools only come into play after the tragedy has happened, after somebody's died. The reason I support the work of Gulf Coast Outreach Services is because they're focused on the front end. They're focused on actually getting Narcan distributed throughout our communities to make sure that overdose deaths don't happen. I've seen the benefit in our community. I'm involved with a number of nonprofit organizations here in Galveston County. I've personally advocated for the placement of these Narcan machines at various places throughout our county, and I know that the people who have gotten them are so grateful to have them. The benefit of having the machine is that people who genuinely want to have this on hand because they know there might be a need, they're going to go and be able to get it. Again, I've personally advocated and I've seen the placement of these Narcan distribution machines in several points in our county. I know it's doing good. Even my own church has gotten Narcan available thanks to the efforts of Gulf Coast. So anything that can be done to increase the resources that are made available to Gulf Coast to distribute Narcan in this county, I'm in full support of. They have demonstrated that they've been good stewards of what's been entrusted to them, and I support further empowering their efforts to do so. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Paula Taban. I'm the Executive Director of St. Vincent's House, and so grateful that we are part of this amazing partnership to be able to provide this life-saving Narcan for our community. We had a mom that came through because one of the services that we provide is food, very essential needs. And she saw our dispensary and we were excited about having, and so she asked us what it was and we got to share. And she said to our counselor, she said, you know what? Let me take one home. Sure enough, the next day she came back in tears to tell us that she had taken the Narcan and realized and found her son that had had an overdose of fentanyl, and she was able to save his life. And we're so thankful that we were able to help provide that Narcan. As a matter of fact, I carry it everywhere I go now in my purse, because the beautiful thing about this Narcan is you can't hurt somebody, you can only save a life.
This is Joe Sullivan with Sullivan Pharmacy in Baycliff, and I'm here to talk to you about our participation in the free Narcan program. About 3 or 4 months ago, I had a young man, right after we opened the pharmacy, run inside and wanted to know where the free Narcan was. So I said, it's right there, grab it, go, no questions asked. He ran out the door with it. The next morning, another young man came in and he said, are you the one that gave my friend the Narcan? Are you the one that made it available to him? I said, yes, I was. And he said, I want to thank you for saving my life. I said, well, you're so welcome. I'm glad we were able to do that, help you do that. So we know it works. I carry it in my car. People probably have it on hand that they don't use drugs, but maybe they know somebody that does. You have a family member. That way they want to have it to help them if they need it. So this is one of our vending machines, our inside vending machine, courtesy of Gulf Coast Outreach Services. We want to thank them for their partnership with this. And this is one that we provide inside the pharmacy. Then we have another one on the outside of the pharmacy. So thanks again. We appreciate it, and we want this service to continue.
Hello, Hello, my name is Ray Nolan. I'm a major with the Galveston County Sheriff's Office. Been with the Sheriff's Office for 32 years in law enforcement. I'm also a paramedic. I've been a paramedic for a little over 35 years. So seeing all the community get together, being coordinated by groups like Gulf Coast Outreach is just amazing. I'm very proud and honored to be a part of this. We've recently gotten vending machines with the help of Les through Gulf Coast to put a vending machine in our lobby at the jail. They're going to be able to see those vending machines, get that Narcan, bring it home, and in case there's an incident, maybe that's the one time that they will be able to save their loved one's life and not have to attend their funerals. So our organized crime task force that's led by me has seized over 1,000 grams of fentanyl alone in our county. That's quite a bit of fentanyl, and made hundreds of arrests. And we are committed at the Sheriff's Office to enforcing our drug laws and trying to get these drugs off the streets. But at the same time, we're committed to try to help be part of the solution and not just reactive to, from a law enforcement standpoint, of trying to put people in jail and get people convicted. So it's a huge effort. It's not just about law enforcement, it's about treatment, it's about being compassionate, being respectful, and trying to get these people help. And so again, I'm honored to partner with the Gulf Coast Outreach, and I look forward to good things in the future.
Hi, this is State Representative Terry Leah Wilson, and I'm here today to promote Gulf Coast Outreach Services and their work in supplying vending machines for Narcan for our community. This session, we had a really great session and we made some progress in making laws to facilitate actual arrest and for manufacturing and distribution, making increase of criminal penalties, also being able to hold people accountable for a death, a fentanyl death or fentanyl poisoning. And in the event of a death, now a homicide can happen, and that can be ruled as the cause of death. So we've done a lot on that end. But what Les has done with Gulf Coast Outreach Services is really boots on the ground. Fentanyl poisoning is a huge issue, not just in Galveston County, but across Texas and across the United States. And this program in particular is making a dent in those numbers. One of the fallacies that many people think with the dispensaries is that, well, people who are addicts can go and test their drugs or have them on the side so that they can conveniently use. That is absolutely false. We have a huge crisis in Galveston County. We have a huge crisis across our state. And if we could have dispensaries available for people to turn this death toll around, that would be very, very important to our community. This is just a really wonderful thing that Les is doing, and I applaud their efforts. And thank you very, very much, Gulf Coast Outreach Services, for all that you do.
My name is Sarah Chittum, and I have a son that died from fentanyl poisoning. 18 days after his 21st birthday, he died from taking a Xanax, or what he thought was a Xanax, but was actually laced with fentanyl. If my son had had Narcan readily available, or if the young lady that was with him had known the signs of fentanyl poisoning and she could have gotten a hold of Narcan, then my son might still be here. My son had severe PTSD from being shot several times in a home invasion. And because of that, he turned to a pill that he thought would help him sleep at night, and that ended his life. By having our app where you can locate free Narcan and there's no stigma attached to it, nobody's going to question you to death, it's saving lives here in Galveston County. And we know it is because our numbers have decreased. I wish that something like this had been available when my son was here, but it wasn't. We didn't know about fentanyl, we didn't know about drugs being laced, and we certainly didn't know about Narcan. This is a very important decision to put these in more and more places so that more people have access to them and our numbers in Galveston County can keep decreasing. And I firmly believe that with all my heart. I'll put this out there. No one dies from Narcan. But we do have several thousands of people that are dying because they don't have access to Narcan. I have several people that ask me, don't you think putting Narcan machines out there is enabling someone? If a person chooses to use drugs, they're going to use drugs whether you have Narcan readily available or not. Those people deserve a chance to make a better decision in the future. I met Les at a town hall that we did, and we've done several events together, going into schools, teaching kids about fentanyl and trying to get them to stay away from using drugs. We teach town halls, and he's been such a blessing because this has given me a purpose back to life, and my son's life won't be in vain, and it's because of people like Les and Gulf Coast Outreach Services. Thank you.
My name's Les McColgan. I'm founder of Gulf Coast Outreach Services. I'm here with John Hart. And John Hart is a friend and a member of our church. And he's going to share his story about the first vending machine in Galveston County.
Well, like I said, my name is John Hart. I'm here in Hart Pharmacy. And he approached us. We had this old machine here that had been broke. And I was trying to figure out what to do with it. He was going to buy it. He told me what he wanted to use with it. And at that point, we loaded it up with, 24, 48 Narcan, whatever it was. And he, I think, advertised it on the billboard. And at that point, we started getting people almost on a daily basis coming in asking about it. I had one guy, he called me up. I could almost barely tell him because of the tears. You could hear in his eyes over the phone. He was just crying, saying, if it weren't for you, my friend would not be here. And I've had a father, he said, look, my son doesn't believe he's got a problem. He's woke up in the emergency room a couple of times already. He's like, I don't know what it's going to take for him to learn, but I want to make sure he actually has the opportunity to learn from his mistakes. As you know, we were the first one to have that vending machine in here. We had a lot of ups and downs, some challenges that we had to overcome, and lessons there with us, helping us all steps of the way to get it through. And so just thank you for helping us.
Listen, I am grateful to John and Hart Pharmacy for allowing us to be the first vending machine in Galveston County. I mean, I'm really grateful to them for that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Kemp, and I am a peer support specialist in the community. But more importantly, I am an overdose survivor in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is today I have a choice and I choose to live. And I would not have that opportunity if it wasn't for Narcan. So I've been sober since February 23rd, 2019. I've actually overdosed several times. I didn't realize the significance of it the first few times, but the third time I overdosed, I saw somebody else overdose, and that's, I got the visual of what was really happening, and it scared me. So, Les and I met, we both used to work for Houston Recovery Center, and, we knew then that we're both very passionate about helping people who struggle from opiate use disorder. And when I heard that he was starting this, giving Narcan, setting these free vending machines up, I was like, wow. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. This has got to happen. Because, Narcan is our only defense against this opioid epidemic. And if people can't get it easily, people are going to die. My husband passed away from a fatal overdose, March 22nd, 2021. And I often wonder if, there would have been some Narcan that would have been easily accessed for the people that was with him. Maybe he would still be alive today. What Gulf Coast Outreach Services is doing is huge, and it needs to catch on and happen in other communities as well. So I'm a firm believer, people who are actively using, or even family members of people who are actively using, are, maybe ashamed or, don't want to be stigmatized by going and getting Narcan. And the way they have it set up where people can just walk up and get some Narcan, wow. When my husband passed, I made a commitment. Not only would I stay sober for the both of us, but I would educate as many people in the community about Narcan that could save, their family members' lives. The importance of having access to it, carrying it with you, and knowing how to use it is going to be crucial. You know, if you even don't think you need it, if you don't think, oh, I don't know anybody, carry the Narcan with you, and because you never know when you're going to roll up on somebody and you could potentially save their life. I want to give my full support to Les and Gulf Coast Outreach Services and the work that they're doing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Siva. I'm the Director of Community Health Services here at Galveston County Health District. I'm very excited to be a part of this project, and we're very excited to be partnering with other organizations, key stakeholders in Galveston County to be able to join in the efforts they have already started. We don't work against each other, we work with each other. It is truly a collaborative effort and support system, not only for our organizations, but for the members of the community who are using the Narcan, who are wanting to learn more about the Narcan, who are trying to access it. We also support each other with providing different educational opportunities. So if Les and Gulf Coast Outreach Services aren't able to go and attend an outreach to where they could talk about Narcan and why it's important, another member of G-Code will go and cover that for him so that we are covering as much of Galveston County as possible together. So I hope you please consider supporting Gulf Coast Outreach Services, Les, G-Code, and all of the other organizations in what we're trying to accomplish in Galveston County and reducing and hopefully eliminating opioid overdose deaths. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Caroline Johnson, and my son is Riley. He is 19 years old now. However, at the time that I had to use Narcan, he was 18. I had found out 4 months prior that he was an addict, and I didn't really realize how bad it was. It was a normal Wednesday afternoon, and I was cleaning the house, and I heard a noise coming from his bedroom. Once I was able to get into his room and I found him, he was no longer breathing. He was turning blue, and I knew it was an overdose. I was fortunate enough that I had been given 2 boxes of Narcan, which is 4 doses. I was able to administer the Narcan. It ended up taking all 4 doses for him to come to. Without Narcan, my son would not be here today. I would have had a funeral for him. Now I am working with Gulf Coast Outreach Services and Les, and we are going into schools and meeting with leaders around our community and students, and just telling them about Narcan, telling them how it's used and how it can help people survive. One of the things that I think is most beneficial to our community and Galveston County especially right now is the fact that they have vending machines where people can go to pick up free Narcan. Narcan is an amazing miracle drug. It is a miracle. Because if it weren't for Narcan, my son would not be here. I am forever grateful to Gulf Coast Outreach Services and to Les for everything that they're doing for our community. Someone needed to get out here and do it, and he has spearheaded it and is taking over the county. Please keep it going. Thank you so much.
Howdy y'all, my name is Dr. Kristen Clancy. I'm a pharmacist by training, and I am the director of the Houston Recovery Initiative, which is the largest recovery-focused coalition in the state of Texas. Les and I first met through one of our work groups, the Behavioral Health Integration Work Group, which strives to bring together primary care resources to the treatment world and vice versa. As a pharmacist, I was very familiar with the barriers that people who suffer from substance use disorder face when trying to obtain their medication. When he told me that he was distributing Narcan through a vending machine model in Galveston County, I was so excited to assist him. I have been a police dispatcher, an EMT, and a health inspector, and I am very much aware that none of those agencies typically talk to each other, but they have all the information that Les needed to know where to place these vending machines. I suggested that they obtain EMS data for Galveston County to find out where the highest overdose rates were. The Galveston County Health Department and the Ambulance Authority honored my request within 3 days. That is the fastest that I have ever been able to receive that information. We were able to highlight where the problem areas were. We were able to approach independent pharmacy owners in those areas to get them to have a vending machine in their lobby. We also approached other non-traditional commercial entities like a hardware store, coffee shops, restaurants, to see if they would have Narcan vending machines. The vending machines themselves typically are either the old-timey newspaper machines or they are water fridges with clear doors on them, and that is meant to decrease stigma. We don't want this to be some scientific top secret medication that only certain people know or talk about. We need people to be able to see it in everyday life and be able to access it and take it home and feel comfortable doing that. Les has been a godsend. I am so honored to work with someone like him who is able to go into the community and tell his story and inspire others to give their time to his mission, donate resources, to have vending machines at their site. And this model needs to be duplicated across Texas. It is basically free. It needs to be duplicated across Texas to be able to reverse the tide of overdose fatalities that we have here. Thank you.
Have you ever needed a second chance at anything? How about life itself? Hi, my name is Stan Washington, Business Development Manager at the Open Door Mission in Houston. And for over 3 years now, Les and I have been together pushing this message of hope to the people in Southeast Texas who need it the most. His message has always been the life-saving drug, Narcan. My message has always been addiction recovery. But the bottom line is this: we both want to do whatever it takes to save lives. And what Tisha and Les are doing over at Gulf Coast Outreach Services with Narcan is truly remarkable. My hat goes off to them. And by the way, we have a network of collaborating partners who will be assisting us in the near future with a message of hope through addiction recovery. So please stay tuned for that. But right now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you a good friend of mine and the founder of Gulf Coast Outreach Services, Mr. Les McColgan. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Les McColgan. I'm the Executive Director of Gulf Coast Outreach Services, and I'm grateful to be here today. I had a real desire, once I got clean 5 years ago, to go and work with people that suffered from what I suffered with. I battled it for 40 years. Billions of doses of fentanyl came into our country in 2022, and the only thing that will prevent or reverse an opioid overdose is Narcan. I went to work with Houston Recovery Center, and I was the liaison for Galveston County and 5 other counties. And one of my responsibilities was distribution of Narcan. We had about 150 cases of Narcan, which is a lot of Narcan. And I was the only one doing that. I was the only one distributing or getting into the hands of the public the Narcan that we had. And I tried every way. I tried building distribution locations in different counties, passing it out when we do meetings, going to the homeless shelters and passing it out. But nothing really satisfied me. And so I didn't have the freedom that I needed at Houston Recovery Center because I had such a big territory. But I immediately looked at ways to get it into the hands of the right people. That was my concern. I could envision what would happen if I just had one county I was working in, and I could go through and do what I felt needed to be done, and that was provide distribution or access points throughout the county. I retired from Houston Recovery Center about a year and a half ago, and I immediately started my own 501c3. Stan and I have been working on that part of our next move. And so when I started putting this plan together, there were several things that were involved in planting this in Galveston County. We have a coalition with the health department and 2 or 3 other organizations, and we all work together about getting these locations. We use a small vending type machine, cost $150, $200, as opposed to $4,000 to $5,000. So it had to be affordable. I knew that some type of free access to Narcan throughout the county, if we could get enough free access throughout the county, we could actually see a decline in fentanyl deaths. And so we started with one machine, and it was donated to us by a friend. It was broken, and we put Narcan in it. And we have a billboard that says fentanyl kills, Narcan saves lives. And I changed that to free Narcan Heart Pharmacy. And we had about 50 people come in over a period of 2 or 3 days. And so we knew there's a combination of these things that's going to work. Our local affiliates of ABC and CBS and Fox News, I'm interviewed consistently by one or more of them. Been picked up by the Houston Chronicle, the Dallas Morning News, about what we're doing. They're not that thrilled with me. What they're thrilled about is the fact that what we're doing works, and it's duplicatable. It's duplicatable because it's simple. There's nothing difficult about what we're doing. We call it FDRP, Fentanyl Death Reduction Plan. And so we began to see a penetration into the market and began to experience a downturn in fentanyl deaths. And we got our first numbers last year, late in the year. Through September in 2022, there had been 36 fentanyl deaths. And through September 2023, there were 26. And so you have 10, and that's actually 28% decline in fentanyl deaths in Galveston County. And we're waiting for an update on our numbers, but we're convinced that they will continue. So it went from 207 doses, and that was in October, that were accessed and taken into the community. The next month, it was 383 doses, and that's right at 30 cases. And December was 330 doses. And so that's around 27 cases that went into our county by people getting up and going to these locations and taking the Narcan. And so this is the reason this works so much better than just passing them out, is because people know they have a need. They're willing to get up, get in their car, and drive down to the location and get the Narcan to keep it in case one of their friends, family, or neighbors, or whoever has an accidental overdose. And compared to me passing it out to somebody, it's effectively 10 times more effective, in my opinion. And so several things that we do. We use these small vending machines. We use flyers. We have a lot of media that covers us. Small signs, portable signs are good just to let people know. We have to let people know where these locations are. One of the best things that happened to us was our local newspaper. They covered us from the very beginning. And we are really, really grateful to the Galveston News. I mean, they wrote some fantastic stories about what we're doing and the approach that we're taking and the success. And from them, it's spread to all other forms of media. And we also have our own app. Now, this app is under the name of our organization, Gulf Coast Outreach Services, but the only thing that I was really interested in with the app was a Narcan locator. I designed this and did not ask for funding because I wanted this to be in place, working, and I wanted it to be documented evidence that it was working. We now have that through the statistical data that we've got. So we are looking for funding, but the purpose of this was not just Galveston County. I love Galveston County, and it's a personal thing with me. I'm offended when people die of fentanyl death because it's unnecessary. But I also wanted to have something that I could share with other counties that need direction on making what you do the most effective possible, and that's what we're doing. But to the people that I've been able to work with in Galveston County, the wonderful people that have made themselves available for these little vending machines, and we're seeing lives saved daily from this. And so much gratitude to all my friends and also to the media. We appreciate all the support we've had in Galveston County, and now we're having other counties contact us, and we're here to help. We'd love to hear from you. Tisha Birchfield is my executive assistant. She takes care of all the media. You can contact us on our webpage, Gulf Coast Outreach Services, or our Facebook, Gulf Coast Outreach Services.